Hello and welcome back to the Dial H for Heroclix podcast. I'm your sexy ranch hand co-host Kalder and S. This episode, we're going to be giving our final thoughts / a combined Red Dead Redemption in the form of going over the absolute Carnage set. And then we're going to do a Community Tuesdays question and a Jedi-Legend Heroclix tip of the week. This is episode 327. Howdy, howdy, let's get rowdy. Dial H for Heroclix is brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com, where you can find cool stuff in stock every day, including all the latest Heroclix singles and sealed products. Make sure you check them out at CoolStuffInc.com. Joined with me, as always, in my studio here is my nemesis, Simeon Bruce. What is going on, Simeon?
299, 300. Oh, sorry, Calder. Just getting my pump on. You know, getting ready for that segment you were talking about.
Okay.
Getting my pump ready.
Oh no.
For the pump and dump segment.
The pump and dump. I actually ate a full menu of Taco Bell, so I'm actually getting my dump ready for the pump and dump. So here we are.
I wasn't going to go there, but I'm glad one of us was willing to.
Well, one of us had to. Maybe we didn't. Listeners probably like, we wish you hadn't. So, as always, we like to start with what made us happy this last week. What made you happy, my man?
This week, I went on a Golden Age splurge, and I found a really cool person selling a bunch of cool older figures. I got the full set of the Street Fighter figures with all their... They don't really have like the translucent effects that we see nowadays. It was like a early prototype kind of thing. It's like a lot thicker. Like the lightning and stuff is like way thicker than what we normally get nowadays. But they're really cool. I'm really glad I got them, and I can't wait to put them on a shelf.
Oh yeah, the Street Fighter set is it's all beautiful sculpts.
Yeah, even the commons and uncommons are...
Oh yeah, dude. I think my favorite is like the rare Ken Una... Sure, Sotoyukin, whatever the kick one is, I don't remember, but it's like a really cool,
like a splash effect from like the ground.
Yeah,
and then there's like a flame trail on his leg because he's moving so.
It's almost crazy. Yeah, exactly, moving so fast. Get that fire. All the Chun-Li stuff is cool with like the multiple clearish legs and everything. Yeah. It's a beautiful set. Or defined, like
Honda with his like
his hands.
Yeah, that's who I always mained in Street Fighter 2 was E Honda, and I just constantly do the like hi-ya-ya-ya, like the palm strikes or whatever it was.
I'm not gonna lie, I was guessing Blanca for you, or Blanca, however you say it. Sure. That was my guess for your Street Fighter 2 main. I can't believe I was wrong. All right, shoot. E Honda though, that makes sense. I can see it. Right on. Mine's Guile. In case any of you guys are wondering, but whatever, no one asked Calder. All right, skip past it. Anyways, or Geel, however you guys want to say it. I don't know. People always pronounce crap differently. Anyways, what made me happy this week, not HeroClix related, but I was kind of bored and looking for some new shows to watch. So I watched the MTV Classic Clone High. All season 1 of that show. That was my JFK impression. That's how he sounds in the show a little bit anyways. Clone High was hilarious. I found a 4-hour YouTube video that just was like all the episodes. I didn't do this in one day, but it had like all like 12 or 13 episodes of just season 1. And I just watched it all. And it was just a really hilarious show. It's like an adult animation show that's not like crazy cringy adult animation like Rick and Morty and Family Guy and shows where it's just like, ugh, that's so lame. It's just got, I'm sorry.
Richard and Mortimer show takes a high IQ to enjoy Calder. I don't know if you're aware of this, but it's a lot of science talk and highbrow humor.
Such a high IQ where like the most popular joke is just a guy turns himself into a pickle. So like if you're so high IQ
hilarious.
And your joke is literally a veggie tail, then it's not funny. Sorry. Anyways, batching a terrible show aside.
So he turned himself
I get
into
it. I'm not normally a pickle either.
Isn't that funny?
Not funny. It's not. It's so not funny. It's so not funny. It's so not funny. It hurts. And the fans of that show are even worse. So if you are a fan of that show, you can stop listening to the podcast. I will not be offended. Anyways, Clone High was cool though because it's a lot of historical figures. The whole gist of the show is that they cloned dead historical characters, and now they're teenagers and they're going to high school. And it's really funny. It riffs on like high school rom-com, like movies like that. Makes fun of those a bunch. There's like a restaurant in the show, and it's called the Grassy Knoll. And it's where JFK goes all the time to like eat and stuff. It's hilarious. So just funny little jokes like that I dig it. There's a part where like a character mentions Olive Garden, and it's so funny because my father loves Olive Garden, and the way this character talked about it was just like only me and my family would think that joke is hilarious. But like it was like a joke, or I had to like screen record it on my phone. I'm like, that is so freaking funny. It was so good. So I really enjoyed the show. If you guys want to watch Clone High, there's like you can just like look up Retro Rerun, watch all of it. It's 12 episodes. So like I said, like 4 hours. It's not much. It was canceled. It was made by the same people that like went on to make Lego Movie Into the Spider-Verse. So this was like their early animation debut. But I just had a great time watching the show. It's hilarious. Historical references are all very like, you just know George Washington Carver did something with peanuts, and you pretty much like if you get the baseline of what X character in history did, that's basically all you need to know. There's no in-depth crazy stuff that you have to know about each character in order to think it's funny. So it's just a really funny show, and I really enjoyed watching it. So that's what I did. Made me happy this week. So without further ado, let's go ahead, get into our main topic, which is a little bit of a combination. Let's do the want to do pumping it and dumping it first, Red Dead Redemption, and then go into final thoughts?
Yeah, let's go ahead and start with the worst of the worst and get to the better stuff.
Sounds good. So let's join us in a pump it, dump it thread in this week's Red Dead Redemption.
Friend, I just wanted to play.
Now, firstly, we ain't friends. Don't make no mistake on that subject. Now, secondly, he can't hardly see, let alone reason. Now, reasoning ain't never been one of my strong points neither, but seeing I do just fine.
Ooh, all right. So, beautiful thread on HC Realms made 2 days ago by good old Teemu Supremo. This guy, I don't know if he does all the pump it and dump it threads. I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't look at these a bunch. Do you know, Simeon?
I think I want to say that like it's the same few people that usually do them, but I don't think that this is the guy that always does them because I know that I've seen a few with a different name at the title. So.
Like Dial and Evidence, how it's like it's not all the same guy, but there's always going to be a Dial and Evidence thread, whoever decides to take up that cross and do it, you know. Yeah. So what does he say? He goes over the basic rules of what pump and dump thread is. So I'll just go ahead and read his main post. We'll criticize that a little bit, and then we'll get into the rest of the thread. Now, I don't want to criticize Timmy here too much, just because he's got, so many reputation points. I can't quite say that number without the right amount of commas. So I don't want to, lose all my 4 points of rep I have on Realms compared to this monster here. So he says, howdy, folks. So first of all, that's my word. You can't use it, but you can say howda. Anyways, and welcome to another edition of Pump It and Dump It. Hot off the wheels of a recently completed character list with spoilers in the awesome evidence thread found here. He gives a link to the evidence thread. We now have a complete set list of WizKids' latest Heroclix expansion, Spider-Man and Venom, Absolute Carnage. Similar to previous threads of this type, when an expansion's full set list is finally released, we, the HC Realms community, take the opportunity to tweak final results by adding the 3 figures we wish were included in the set, but were not, pump, and then eliminate 3 figures we wish would not have been included in the set to make room for the 3 figures that we wish had been in there, pump. Now, I am a huge Spider-Man fan, and undoubtedly this set will be a great hit with most players. However, us Heroclix fans can be fickle folk, as you can all attest to, surely. So everybody can name 3 figures that they feel deserve to have been in the set that did not make the cut. Pump. And also have issues with certain characters appearing perhaps were not so deserving. Pump. I don't like how many times I've had to say those words. Anyways, feel free to participate in and state the reasons behind your choices. I will be tabulating and updating the thread as it progresses. The results are based on character selection alone and not stats, powers, dial design. So please keep this in mind and do not refrain from voting due to not seeing any spoiled dials or not having used the figures yet. Also, make sure to limit your selections to only 3 individual characters in each category, as any more than that will not be tabulated. Tabulated? Okay, sure. Any extra should be listed as honorary mentions. Polls will be open for 1 month, closing on October 2nd, 2020. Okay, let's get the ball rolling. He's going to go first. So he's going to be 1, 2, 3, pumping these 3 characters, which is Agony, Phage, and Lasher. Super popular characters I'm sure we've all heard of. I don't know who any of them are. I assume they're just random symbiotes no one cares about.
Yeah, they're
Simeon. Do you know who Agony, Phage, and Lasher are?
Without looking them up at all, I'm pretty sure that they were part of like one of the Carnage, like one of the big Carnage storylines where he was like the main bad guy or whatever Carnage was. I want to say it was like from the 90s, but I don't read a lot of Spider-Man. Like, I've read some Spider-Man. I've read more modern stuff. I liked the Superior Spider-Man and then like the Superior Foes of Spider-Man, that kind of stuff. But never really been a big fan of the symbiote stuff because it's just... They just seem all the same to me. They're all like goopy monster people.
No, they're cool. They're cool, especially the symbiotes from the 90s, because we all know that the 90s was the best time to be a comic book fan ever. So those are the ones he's pumping. 1, 2, 3. So he is dumping Scream Prime, Riot Prime, and Simeon's. I don't know how to say it. Basically, Miss Elizabeth here. Simeon's Miss Elizabeth. He's dumping Marvella.
Oh, I thought you were going to say so.
Not
ego.
A fan. Oh, your alter ego, Marvella? Your secret identity? No.
Yeah.
No.
So one of these things is not like
no
the other.
Scream Prime, no Riot Prime. That's what I was thinking
Apparently
too.
He's
hating on the Prime.
Yeah, he likes the Venom Prime and the Doppelganger Prime, apparently. But he likes those at least more than Marvella.
Exactly, for whatever reason. And then honestly, for me, there's more to dump in this set than any I've seen for a while. Although a huge Spider-Man fan, as he says, he's not loving this set. 10 slots going to secret identity human. He says humanoids. Like, nah, they're humans.
Just humans.
This isn't like D&D. They're just humans. Chill out.
That
is
Peter Parker
humanoid. Is humanoid. Way too many. He's saying there's way too many characters that are just like human people. They are just glorified bystanders and do not suit my tastes at all. The 8 chase figures are not even comic characters. Whoa, this is totally the first time they've ever done chase figures that aren't comic characters. Wow. Shut up, dude. Anyways, characters to begin with, and thus my opinions do not belong in the set either. So he's saying they don't belong in the set. WizKids could have dropped those 18 figures, the chases, and the 10 secret identity figures right there, and I wouldn't have blinked an eye over them. Anyway, the 3 I did dump are even less wanted by myself, if that's even possible. That's it for me. Now it's your turn to vote. All right, so him here, I would call them hot takes, but they're honestly pretty cold. So what do you think about his overall opinions as stated in the beginning of this Thread Dead Redemption set here?
These pump and dump threads are always very similar. Like they always go along like a very similar vein where it's like, I want figures that we haven't gotten in a while that aren't popular enough to like bring people into the game. Not that like Scream Prime and Riot Prime are going to be like bringing people into the game, but at least Riot has been in a movie, whereas like Agony, Phage, Lasher will probably never be in a movie. Like Riot at least appeared in something. Someone will know who that is from like a tangential source. But these always follow like a similar kind of vein where it's people that are just very picky with like what WizKids puts on dials and what like real names and stuff like that people have, like figures have, I should say. And then it's usually just like completely hopeless hopes of like figures that will never be made. And it's like, sure, like I also hope that they make everything possible at some point. but I'm not willing to quote unquote dump like decent stuff out of a set because I want arm fall off man or whatever.
Yeah. All right. Do you yourself have a pump and dump it 3 figures you would pump, add to the set, and 3 figures you would dump? Not, just throw away, get them out of the set.
So I'm not a huge fan of the primes. I'm not a big fan of the primes. If I was gonna pump something, it would be like the Penny Parker, like the plain Penny Parker, the non-steampunk one. I really liked the Howard the Duck from the Vidya game, the mobile game, where he's got the Venom symbiote like encasing his mech suit. That's a pretty cool thing. That'd be cool, especially like whether it's a chase or not. I would have preferred that as a chase over the steampunk Penny, because that's actually been made by something, and maybe WizKids would have had to have asked for like the rights to make it or whatever. But
nice issue potentially,
yeah. And then something else that would have been really cool to get in there would have been like an actual J. Jonah Jameson like figure, or I don't know. We got him as like a bystander that really doesn't do a whole lot at all, but I guess we technically did get him. So
yeah.
And then I guess dump would have been. I really just don't care for the primes. I haven't read whatever that series is that those come from, and again, like it seems silly to say for a set that is mostly based around like symbiotes or like a symbiote storyline, but I'm just not a huge fan of symbiotes. Like especially they don't seem to be any different one from the other. The worst one that I can think of right now is the Venom Captain Marvel, who it's like worse than the last Captain Marvel we got, and it literally just has like shape change, plasticity, call and help from the Venomverse, and then like a somewhat kind of unique power that you get mid-dial, so it's like good luck landing on it or whatever. But yeah, I really don't care for like characters that are venomized just for the sake of being venomized, and they don't really add more than like plasticity, shape change to the actual character.
Yeah, I agree with that. So what I would be pumping and dumping here, kind of along the same lines that you had. The Agent Venom is, not good. We just got one in Fantastic Four, and I guess if we're just looking at this where I know, like maybe I don't know what this Agent Venom is, for all I know he's better, but like just by the fact that we already had a good one in Fantastic Four, I don't need another Agent Venom in this set, so I would dump Agent Venom. A Spider Pharaoh, she's just like one of the few chases in this set where I don't care about at all, and at the very least, Steampunk Penny, even though Steampunk is just trash as an art form, at the very least, is the first Penny Parker we're getting. I really don't care about, Jessica Drew as Cleopatra or whatever. So, and then like what you said, Venom Captain Marvel, not a Captain Marvel fan, and all her dials are already the same pretty much. It hurts. So yeah, fast chick punches things. Not fun. Don't care. Pump though, I agree. Howard the Duck. Spider-Man appeared in the first issue of Howard the Duck, and we only have 3 so far, and there have been so many cool alternate versions of Howard the Duck. I would love to and just put him in each set just for a while, so we can get an Iron Duck. We can get a Howard the Human, would be really cool. Venom Howard the Duck, you said the Howard the Duck with the big mech loader would be great from Contest of Champions. Also, pump Punisher, because Punisher first appeared in Amazing Spider-Man. So, and we don't have a Punisher to use. Well, we do have a Punisher to use, but it's not good. We have for the Man Inside the Machine from Captain America and the Avengers. So since we didn't get a Punisher in that set, it would have been nice to get one in this set. Although it was pretty funny online. Someone was saying because the name is just Punisher, you can use the 30-point Punisher generic. You can't use the Prime, sadly. Dude, if you'd use the Prime, if they weren't both primes, you could. Yeah. But you could use the prime when he comes in charge flurry, 12 attack at 75 points. Ooh, that'd be chef's kiss. It'd be great. And then pump also, I'd like an Aunt May. We only have the What If Aunt May. I think it'd be really cool in this set, full of secret identity characters and then bystanders. A couple of bystanders.
But
it'd be cool to get Aunt May.
Aunt May is another humanoid. Would you really want more humanoids in this set?
Oh yeah, I love all the humans. I'm sorry, Teemu Supremo. I hate to hit you with the harsh reality of the fact that I don't think as many people care that there's that many humans in the set as you seem to think. At least I don't. Maybe people do, but I certainly don't. I think it's fine. Yeah. So let's go ahead, check out some of the comments, shall we? Sorry, go for it, Simeon.
I was just gonna say I'm perfectly fine with just as a side tangent. I'm perfectly fine with the secret identity thing because a lot of the characters have some of their alter ego power on their secret identity thing. So it'd be even if you attack Clark Kent, even though he's not dressed up as Superman, he's still gonna be super fast or super strong or whatever. Just because he's not in the right suit doesn't stop making him who he is. Now that's not the same with Norman Osborn, who puts on an actual suit or whatever to become Iron Patriot. But yeah, I feel they still have all their power and stuff that they could potentially have. So I'm perfectly fine with all those dials.
Yeah. Okay, so overall, pump and dump it threads. We're never going to get rid of them. So I'm gonna look at some comments here. So the main guy, Teemu Supremo here, apparently he's got the right thinking with whole Agony, Phage, and Lasher, because scrolling through page 1 and page 2, there's 5 or 6 other people that are Pump, Agony, Phage, Lasher, blah, 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 blah. I'm oh, okay, dang, all right. That's no idea who random symbiotes are, but glad to see random symbiotes are in there. So we have not the first dump comment, but the one that I want to talk about is he's getting rid of Iron Man, Marvella, and Steel Serpent. So he's saying Iron Man's totally unnecessary, saying Marvella is unnecessary, and he says Mary Jane could have done the celebrity trick. So I get it. If you don't know that Iron Man is Mary Jane in this set, you might think it's unnecessary. But for the sake of flavor, it's kind of cool because she was Iron Man recently in the last 2 years in comics. So I think that's cool. And just because of the fact they're doing secret identity, it makes sense that she is Iron Man, Marvella. And they just pretty much decided, look, we're going to do this secret identity thing in one set. Let's get rid of all the characters that Mary Jane has been. Even if it's not those 3, either way, they made a good chunk of the characters she's been. So just looking at it from that standpoint, I'm totally fine with it. And I don't care at all about Spider-Man, but I'm cool with the fact that they did Marvella, She-Venom, and Iron Man. That's okay. That's fine to me. Just because if you're going to do secret identity, let's get rid of all the ones they could do in this set. If they would have made Norman Osborn and they wouldn't have given us an Iron Patriot and they would have just made Green Goblin, I'd have been so mad. Because hey, seriously, it's Norman Osborn. He's got 2 dudes he can be. Just give them both if you're going to do the secret identity thing. And they did. So yeah. I'm cool with it. Steel Serpent, I get why he doesn't want Steel Serpent in it. To be honest, Steel Serpent's just kind of here because he's Iron Fist sculpt reuse. So that's totally fair for me.
Yeah, I agree.
Then you can go over a few comments. There's one I want to get to here where it's got a character or a version of a character I've never seen or heard of. I'm really interested in that. So if you want to go over any comments, let me know, Simeon.
Yeah, I'll go over Leatherface because I kind of agree with a few points. So their pump was Spider, and that's SP//DR, normal version. A real missed opportunity. She might not be as relevant by the time the next Spider-Man set comes out. It's just a mech suit Spider-Man, Penny Parker, but more mobile and less, I don't know, bulbous. I don't know. The Penny Parker one's a weird tank thing, and this was more a spindly Spider-Man thing. So yeah, that's a cool pump. I'm okay with that one. Steel Spider, easy sculpt reuse of Iron Spider and Superior Spider-Man. I don't know what the difference is, but sure. Vengeance. He says he had a mini-series with Venom in the 90s, which is enough for me. And I imagine that's where most of these comments come from. Something in the 90s that happened, and this is enough of a reason to choose this character. Plus, there is 9 Ghost Riders in Modern, so now would be a good time as any. Again, I don't know who Vengeance is, if that's just Ghost Rider with a symbiote. We've kind of already got that once, but not really. It'd be cool to get like an actual mainstay Ghost Rider with a symbiote. And then for the dump, it was... I hate the idea of the chase theme because literally anything else is more important comics-wise. It's almost like they do this as like a collectible, cool, like niche thing, and less of like a comics accurate
chase theme a
like
little bit.
Chases. He says, but since I can only dump 3, I'll pick the 3 worst designs. Steampunk Penny Parker. I'm almost okay with this. Because this is like one of my least favorite chases that they did. But he says this figure rubs salt into the wound of not getting a Penny Parker, and I agree with that to an extent. Like I still wouldn't drop it from the set. Leonardo da Venom. I have zero interest in a Leonardo da Vinci Heroclix, and a Venomized version doesn't change that. Well, first of all, it's not a Venomized version of Leonardo da Vinci. It is Venom back in time as like Leonardo da Vinci, as all the chases are like a time displaced real character thing. Like Penny Parker's set in like an alternate past where steampunk was a real thing. Spider-Man 2099 is back in the 1700s or whatever. All that stuff. So like, yeah, I actually really like the Leonardo da Vinci or Leonardo da Venom chase. It does a lot of cool stuff. I wish they would have like fleshed out like a backstory with the flavor text a little bit. That would have been cool. But other than that, like, it's cool, it's unique, it's like something that if someone like sees it sitting on like a table in like, you know, in the future when people start playing at venues again, if someone sees it sitting on a table, they'll be like, what is that? And then you can explain it to them. And I think it's a cool jumping off point for WizKids to potentially have the ability to like bring new stuff into the game that doesn't actually exist. And I'm okay with it. And then his third dump is Gwen of Arc. I would have liked this figure more if it wasn't web slinging, so it could work better as a substitute Joan of Arc Heroclix. Which I understand. I don't even know if it's actually web swinging in the sculpt.
She's like leaping.
It's just
she was like standing there. He basically was like a less dynamic sculpt, maybe just her standing there, which is like sounds lame, but like when you just want a normal Joan of Arc, I get it, sure. Yeah,
if that's all you wanted, I understand that. It's just, I don't know. I feel like people are hating on like the chase theme a little too much when it's like WizKids like went out of their way to get permission to do it, kind of. And it seems like a really good foot in the door for potentially having like other options down the line. So I'm not going to hate on any of their chases.
No, I won't either. I love it. I've said about 1 million times how much I love this chase theme. I think it's a great idea. You know, it's chase themes like this are the ones that make me want to collect all of them. So like how this last Venom with Earth X, like none of these guys were comic accurate, or at least at the time, I don't think they were. I think they were all just like comic covers. All that really was. Same thing with the Iron Man, the Invincible Iron Man chase theme. That was a chase theme I wanted to collect all of them because they all worked together and they were all cool. They were just Iron Man, but like what if, you know? So it was the Iron Engine, where it's 1920s Iron Man, you know, the Iron Paladin, which is very much like the Joan of Arc, where it's like just Iron Man as a knight type deal. Like there's just really cool alternate versions of Iron Man that are just in the past. So it's so sick. Like I think chase themes like this, they're my favorite. They're the closest I get. I love alternate versions of characters. But on another note, if they want to do a chase theme like this, then Spider-Man has actually been like really time displaced in things in the past in other stories. Like I would have loved a 1602 chase theme. That would have been really cool because there is a Spider-Man in 1602. I think after 1602 is when he actually wears a more Spider-Man like costume, and he's, I believe, the first Spider. Sadly, they kill in whatever the vampire guy is going around killing spiders.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure they kill 1602 Spider-Man first. Like that with the 1602 X-Men would be kind of neat. The 1602 Nick Fury, where he like works for the Queen. 1602 Daredevil, like stuff like that. Like 1602 is a great, like amazing Marvel story, which we only have one figure of. I'm not complaining because it's Captain America, but still, we need a better version of that, and I would like to see the rest of the story made. So on the flip side, I get it. You know, if you want a different chase theme, but it would be all characters from the past. You can make it 1602. So there's a comic accurate way of doing it. I'm not the biggest comic book fan, and I'm not a Spider-Man fan. So these chases make me, someone who isn't a Spider-Man fan, want to own them because I like the real historical part of it. So I don't know. We talk about the chases a lot. I like them. Simeon likes them. Sometimes, you know what, guys? It's good. It's good for you. You can skip the chase theme this set. You can save yourself some money, okay? Look at that. A little blessing in disguise. How's that sound there, fellas?
A lot of, I'm not going to say like cult classic, but a lot of like fairly beloved characters nowadays like got their starts in, you know, like they weren't in the comics, but they got made in like an animated show or maybe a game or something like that. And then they like came to the comics afterwards and became like a big mainstay of like the comics and like future media and stuff. So I think it'd be interesting or like cool if Marvel like followed up, like they saw people like enjoying these characters and they followed up with little one-shot, you know, series going through like the Leonardo da Venom's whole story, you know, maybe the Mona Lisa's like sitting there for like the painting and he eats her instead of painting her. So I don't know what Venom is. Yeah, maybe like the Spider George Washington signs the Declaration of Independence with web fluid. I don't know. They could make a story out of it though.
Bad idea.
Yeah,
I'd like to see them cross Delaware. That'd be kind of cool. Maybe on the reverse side of it, crossing the Delaware is neat. You know, something like that in a battle, not necessarily. And besides that, George Washington didn't sign the Declaration of Independence anyways, so you're wrong there, Simeon. But anyways, we can just skip past that.
Because he didn't have web fluid, Calder. That's what I was trying to say.
It's because he wasn't there. Okay, whatever. Let's get over it. Wooden teeth, but no web fluid. What the heck? All right, so yeah, no. If you guys want to know what an actual bad chase theme is, it's a bunch of random characters that aren't even cool, unique versions of themselves, aka the chase theme from Captain America and the Avengers. What a garbage chase theme that I sadly own all of. I hate it. Hate all of them. If they would have given me a, D-Man as freaking, I don't know, Andy Warhol, like whatever. If they would have given me like historical Captain America allies. Yeah, dude, Evil Knievel D-Man. If they would have given me, Winter Soldier, Vladimir Putin, Winter Soldier, or whatever, Rasputin, Winter Soldier, like something crazy. I don't know. I don't care. Like, if you would have given me historical versions of the Cap and his crew instead of just random, here's Absorbing Man, his Namor, a little water effect. Like, that's so lame. The Captain America chases are so freaking lame, and I hate how lame they are. I wish WizKids would have done the creative thing in the Captain America set, because that would have been awesome, especially since Cap has more to do with history, time traveling wise and whatnot. So it would have made a lot more sense. But even then, like, Spider-Man's all over the universe. Spider-Verse jazz is happening. So I really don't think you guys can complain as Spider-Man fans for this I mean, you can obviously always complain. I'm not telling you not to complain, but like, really, compared to being lame, like, we got a crazy cool creative chase theme, versus a comic accurate chase theme in Captain America, which was just like these characters, and it was lame and they sucked. Some are good or whatever, but like, they just kind of suck. They're just kind of lame. So I would rather have cool creativity from WizKids' part. That shows that WizKids cares about the game. They want to do something new for the game instead of just a new mechanic or like a little fun little object or something. Instead, they're actually like, we're going to make actual characters and commission artists to draw sketches for us. We're going to put them in the game. That is awesome. That kind of behavior should be rewarded. It should not be criticized just because of what that could lead to in the future. Rant over.
Yeah.
That's all I've got to say about chases. But yeah,
and I'm not gonna pretend like I don't have gripes about like this set, and like, I mean, I don't care for Venomized figures just for the sake of it, but there's also almost zero chance that we ever get a real Leonardo da Vinci. So if the best I can get is a Venomized version, I'm okay with that. Like, it's not even a Venomized version, I guess. It's just Venom in the role of... They should have given them all like celebrity keyword and just pretended like they were doing like community theater, like a play about Joan of Arc.
Yeah. Well, here we are. Jonah of Arcless. But yeah, no, it's cool. I can't wait to like make her just go against a team of all bishops, then eventually burn my Gwen of Arc at the stake. Jeez, never mind. Terrible joke. We can edit that out. If we don't, well, here it is. It's in there. All right, cool. So that's Third Dead Redemption. What do you think about these thread? This pump it dump it thread. So let's say number one, saying it's the best, is a pump. That's how we're gonna rate this thread. You're down right. It's how we're gonna rate this thread. And then number one, and then on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best, I guess is what we should really do it. Best is a pump, and the bottom's a dump. Where do we rate this pump it dump it thread? This one specifically, its terrible opinions on the chases.
And I
overall,
would say
how much
when it comes to like HC realms, you got a handful of bad threads going on. This might be a thread that I dump from HC realms. I'm not gonna pump this thread, that's for sure. I'll pump the work that goes into like the dial and evidence threads. There's some cool questions and stuff that get put out there, but I'm definitely putting this in the dump category of all of HC realms. And this goes for all pump and dump threads, like not just this one. It's one of my least favorite kinds of threads, because at the heart of it, it's just people whining about like what WizKids is doing in like the most recent set. And I understand, I do that as well, but I'm not willing to comment about it.
I'm gonna give pump and dump a 2. I guess that'd be a jump. How they jump to conclusions, but don't get annihilated, guys. In that, I kind of see these threads as a little bit of a necessary evil, but not that necessary. Like, people are gonna voice their opinion about all of this without a pump and dump thread, like what you said. Like, they're gonna comment everywhere in the unit section, on Facebook, on other threads, about people just saying like, hey man, I really enjoyed playing these chases, and there's gonna be some comments of saying like, no, you're wrong, the chases weren't comic accurate, so they're bad. I'm like, oh, okay, sorry for enjoying something. So like, yeah, these threads are just lame.
Yeah,
overall,
and every set,
lame.
I mean, every set has to have a few figures that just aren't worth collecting out of the set, whether it's like the 100th Spider-Man that you've gotten that year, or it's like I don't know, like an uncommon, like the Blue Phoenix, when we could have had the 10 million BC Phoenix in that set. So like, I understand like the thought process behind the whole thing. It's just, it's hard to read through. I'll leave it at that. Yeah.
Right. Now, moving on, let's go ahead and jump into our final thoughts about the Spider-Man and Venom Absolute Carnage set in this segment of Final Thoughts.
I have failed you. I have failed you. You are lost. You were the chosen one. It was said that you would destroy this
Heroclix set.
not join them. Bring balance to the force, not leave it in ultimate carnage.
Okay, so what we kind of do is the same thing we did with the Fantastic Four set a few episodes ago. We're going to talk about maybe a figure. We're not going to... We're not really going to go into dials so much as we're going to go into mechanics, certain figures, sub-themes, keywords, objects, like this set has actually objects, and overall thoughts about the structure of the set and how it is a set as a whole. Not so much as, if we only took away these 3 characters and brought in these 3 characters, it's 1,000 times of a better set. So Simeon, let's go ahead and do a little positive thing that you like about. We're trying to do a positive, negative, etc. Let's give us a positive thing that you like that they did with the Spider-Man and Venom Absolute Carnage set.
All right. Well, I'll just start with like, the main reason I'm buying into this set isn't to get a bunch of super rares and chases. The main reason I'm buying into this set is because I want a full set of all the secret identities. So I want like, even like the guys I've never heard of, Jason Macendel. I don't know who he is, but he can turn into Demogoblin, Hobgoblin, and Jack-O-Lantern. So I want him, and I want the previously 3 mentioned figures you can turn into. So I think it's going to be a really fun mechanic. They're all like really cheap, so you'll be able to play a like 300 point game with almost all of them, I think. I haven't added it up, but it'll just be really interesting and fun. And they are, for the most part, they all have like a use, like beyond just like the secret identity, hoping you get KO'd to turn into something better kind of thing. They all have like a use. Like the Eddie Brock has ranged combat expert with a 10 for 2 and precision strike, and he's autonomous with 4 range. Like, that's worth 35 points to me. I could play 2 of them. Double Eddie. I don't know. And then, of course, I can turn into Toxin or Venom. So it's good stuff.
All right. Yes, I will just also agree that I like the secret identity mechanic as well. It is a huge step up from Alter Ego having to do a power action when you were on like your last 2 clicks of life, which was like a special speed power or something they would give you. And you would be brought in with all those action tokens and everything. Overall, it's a cleaner mechanic. When you die, but you bring this dude in instead. Very simple, very easy. And they're all autonomous, which just kind of works when you're just like, because they are bystanders right now. Like they haven't turned into their superhero personas yet. So they're just kind of like people walking around, really. So I dig it. I really dig this mechanic a lot. I'll go ahead, talk about something I don't really like in this set, and that is the objects. Not just because they wasted all the Earth X objects on Spider-Man stuff, but also that Spider-Man got his own set, and they also made all the objects, pretty much all the objects, Spider-Man stuff. And they're all different at least, but they're not, none of them are particularly good. I'm sorry if you think that they are. Like the pumpkin bombs, for some reason WizKids was like, hey, there's an object that exists that already gives you 4 range, and energy explosion, and range combat expert. Pumpkin bombs kind of blow up. How do we make that different? And they made it, it's 5 points. It's not, still not good. Minimum range 4 isn't good. Just isn't. Like a character that doesn't have range will most likely just not, or a character that does have range will probably have more than a 4. So any character that you give a 4 range to probably won't be able to use it that well, just because they're not built to be a ranged character. You know,
they're not.
So
they're not set up with like a
kind of bad
move and attack 4 range if they don't already have at least 4 range.
The Carnage symbiote for 6 more points. Like sure, plasticity and shape change is cool, but for 6 more points than the Venom symbiote or the normal symbiote from Earth X, it's not better. And you only heal when you KO somebody. I think maybe if you just had Steel Energy, it would be a lot better, or probably worth 10 points, but I'm not seeing the 10 point cost there. Aldo arms, once again, they're not better than Ock arms, so there's no point in these. Like it's a risk versus like you get a guaranteed 2 attacks and Giant Reach 2 plus improved movement. Like 10 points, they're not better than Ock arms. The garbage can can only be used with that Spider-Man. The garbage can is a good object, but it can only be used with that Spider-Man. So
which is so
does
weird
its job well.
That they gave one of the objects in the set like such a limited capacity for play. It can only be used with the super rare Spider-Man, who like it comes with. It's unless you're Scott Porter. So it can only be played with that Spider-Man, and then you can only replace the Peter Parker. You can only replace it with Peter Parker, and then that Peter Parker can also, I think, be replaced. But it's a really cool thing for that character. It's not something that he needed his own special object for, especially a costed one. It seems so strange.
Yeah, it is odd. And it's weird that you can't even use it with any other Spider-Man, even though like there's a bunch of characters in the set that can all use the Dimensional Watch or the Pumpkin Bombs or the Spider, the Carnage symbiote. I mean, like, very weird to me that they didn't do that with the trash can, Would at least be cool if you could play it by yourself and just use it just to throw a trash can at people, but you can't. It's whatever. And then probably the worst object, all black Necro Sword. Giant Reach 2, when this character makes a close attack, opposing characters can't use shape change and super senses, can't reduce the damage below 1. it's just not worth 15 points. Now, if this was Giant Reach 2, when this character makes an attack, you can't use Shape Change or Super Senses. Then I'm like, woo! Awesome. Dope. Love it. But 15 points, not in love, man. Not in love. If you could at least use something like this, because it's so specific, you really can't guarantee that every single team you face is going to have Shape Change and Super Senses. It's great that they just straight up can't use them. I mean, it's just not worth 15 points, and it's a heavy, which is rough to get it equipped easier. It's got to be TK or Sidestep Super Strength. So like, I don't know. I don't like the Necro Sword at all, and the figure it comes with is also bad. So
yeah,
it's just not a good object. I don't like the objects in the set. Basically, long story short, I don't like the objects.
When they first revealed that the Necro Sword was going to be in the set, I knew that it was most likely going to be on Null, because I'm aware of like him in the comics. But secretly, the whole time I was thinking of Gore the God Butcher from like the King Thor storyline. And this sword doesn't do anything that is going to like hurt Thor. And I believe in the comic storyline with Gore the God Butcher, when he was wielding the Necro Sword, I'm pretty sure that it did hurt Thor quite a bit. I think that he like bested him a little bit with it, and Thor doesn't really care about this at all. The Giant Reach is cool, like Kalder said, but like getting rid of Shape Change and Super Senses is already a fairly built into most teams kind of thing. I don't see people paying 15 points for something that's because again, like, it's indestructible unless you can TK or pick it up and make a close object attack or whatever, and then you just score 15 points, and that's rough.
Not a fan. Not a fan. Simeon. Another thing about this, I almost said thread. We're out of threads. So another thing about the sets you like, don't like.
I've already mentioned how I really like the chase theme, so I'm not going to get into that too much. But I will mention that I feel like the super rares are kind of lacking. So I'll name the ones that I really like first. I like the Absolute Carnage. He's got 3-point lines. I kind of like Doppelganger, just because I like 6-armed Spidey. It's not actually Spidey, but I like the 6-armed dudes. I don't really know the difference between normal Doppelganger and the Prime, other than, of course, the Prime's better for 5 more points. It's not something I really need, so I'm going to go ahead and say, like, pass on that one. I honestly don't need another super rare Spider-Man. I think we've had one in, like, the last, 2 Marvel sets? There was one in Captain America, and there was one in Avengers Black Panther. Is that right? No.
No, he was a rare in Black Panther. Captain America had a super rare Spider-Man. The last Spider-Man set had a super rare Spider-Man. I don't know about in modern right
Superior
now.
Foes had, like a lot of really good Spider-Mans. I don't typically think of these figures as like competitive, and so when I'm looking at this super rare Spider-Man, all I can think is like the alter ego can turn into this cool like hypersonic dial. That's pretty cool. So like I want one for the alter ego thing. But at the same time, I have like the handstand Spidey. I've got a bunch of like Spider-Man from older sets that I play like as often as I can, and I really don't need this particular one anytime soon. Also, he hurts you by giving your opponent a J. Jonah Jameson that can perplex you down. It's not like a big hurt, but it's still just like, why? And then the same goes for the Superior Spider-Man. I really like the Deadpool one. And that's all I'm ever going to play. If I want to play a Superior Spider-Man, I'm going to play that Deadpool one, because I really like the thing he does with the spider bots and stuff. And I just don't need this one. And then Venom Captain Marvel, I already mentioned why I don't really care for that one. It just seemed like a worse version of the last super rare Captain Marvel, and they threw plasticity shape change on it for the most part. Like, just doesn't seem flavorful enough or different enough to me. Secret Wars Battle World had like a spider version of Captain Marvel that is it also had plasticity, but it had poison instead of shape change. So very interesting. The Venom Doctor Strange I want for the sculpt alone, and the Venom Groot I want just because he is ridiculously overpowered, so I'll just be holding on to him to see if they end up nerfing him for 35 points. Is it 35? Yeah, he's 35. 5 points more than like Valeria Von Doom, and he does what she does, but slightly better, and he's tiny, so Valeria could carry him with like her phase around kind of power thing, so that's another added silly thing. But yeah, like the rest of them, like I want Red Goblin, and I want the normal Spider-Man 2099. Of course I want all the chases, but to be realistic, the normal Spider-Man 2099 is cool. But yeah, that leaves about a little over half of the super rares that I just think are complete passes for me. And it sucks because they really don't have like that many crazy cool sculpts. There's so much potential, but like Superior Spider-Man, man, that, and I know his sculpt was that's a copy of like the Iron Spider. It's like a shared sculpt or whatever, reused sculpt, but they could have done so much more with that sculpt for a super rare, and he just looks like he's like an uncommon. He's just standing there with extra arms on him.
Yeah, sculpture use is a little lame when it's like a rare and super rare sculpt. Nah. Not a fan. Right, I'm talking about something I really enjoy about this set, though. Chases. These are so good. I know we keep talking about the chases, but like, you guys, I hate Spider-Man. I constantly rag on Spider-Man, sticking his nose in sets where he doesn't belong. Like, I need to buy a bunch of the Spider-Man sets so I can get a hold of these chases. Like, that's it. So, you guys got chases, burn a hole in your pocket, you know. Just saying, people sent Chris a bunch of stuff. I don't ask for much. Pretty much ask for nothing. Just saying, listener. Just saying. So if you guys getting chases you don't need and want to have a good deal, I'll totally buy them for you. Trust me, because I don't need any of these super rares. So I'll be wheeling and dealing like crazy on this set. I'll be able to go to the post office a whole bunch of times. Love going to the post office. Can't wait. Yeah. Oh, is there any like final thoughts besides like, hey, I love. Oh, there's one I totally wanted to talk about. Oh, point lines. Point lines and Heroclix have been terrible. So bad. Like, Wolverine is probably the worst. Wolverine and the Namor with Giganto are the worst, like, point lines where it's like, why wouldn't I play this at 50 points? It does all the same stuff, you know, and it still has fine stats and good reducers. Still is a stop click. Like, point lines have always had a problem where just take a dial, they're like, let's cut it here, here, and here. But it's all just like, they don't realize how crazy effective when you still leave with all the traits and everything, that it's just 1,000 times better for 50 points. And they did point lines, I would say, pretty much perfectly with this Carnage. So the absolute Carnage is 200, 125, or 60 points. And we haven't talked about him on the show yet. I think I actually forgot to share him on Twitter because I didn't care at the time. Anyways, he ignores elevated and hindering. He has a Carnage symbiote, which is the shape change, plasticity, and then when he kills somebody, he heals 1 click. But if he kills someone with Codex keyword, he heals 3 clicks. He has traded Flurry and Giant Reach 3, which isn't broken on his lower point lines. All right. Then he also, when he KOs someone of 25 plus points, you can generate a Carnage symbiote. So that's a trait. The other trait is Maximum Carnage, which is once per turn. When Carnage hits, after resolutions, deal 1 penetrating damage up to 2 characters that weren't hit but are adjacent to the hit character, which isn't a crazy trait. It's good. It's not crazy. And then he has a special damage power, which is Battle Fury, Leadership, Probability Control. Other characters, Maximum Carnage keyword, modify attack value +1. So that is him when he's like this big boss. So at 200 points, I guess in the Absolute Carnage story, I don't know, just based on context clues, in the Absolute Carnage story, apparently he was just in charge of something crazy, right? So he was like the big boss, that big bad villain they had to beat. It makes sense that he has this leadership, prob, crazy good power when he is the leader, when he's 200 points and when he's 125 points. Then when he's 60 points, he doesn't have this power. Why? Because he's just little old Carnage, just another symbiote, which makes sense. Same thing, like that Wolverine was nuts because when he was 50 points, he was just as good, if not better, than that. So Carnage at 60 plays the role, his dial is different, right? He still has charge and blades, but that's Carnage. He's always going to have that. But instead of having any crazy reducer, he just got toughness and he's got some perplex, and then he gets some battle fury later with some super senses. So this just plays like a generic Carnage figure for just a, Carnage versus Spider-Man little battle, I love the way his dial is set up and the way it's slotted. His stats steadily increase. He gets an 18 defense at 125, and then he gets a 19 with a 12 attack at 200 points. And his just dial works better this way. It's more as they looked at each point line and they decided what role they wanted Carnage to fit based on the dial. Instead of just like cutting a dial in half, it feels like a totally different character. Carnage at 60 points is a totally different character than Carnage at 200 points. And that's the way multiple point values should be, and they did it really, really well with this Carnage. So I like it. I like it a lot. I want them to make more multiple point value characters. If they're going to make them like how they made Carnage here, it works really, really well, and I like the way they did it. I don't know if I totally, made my point, if I sounded good or not. I don't know. I didn't take a speech class, but either way, hopefully I got the point across, and you guys realize yeah, it's great. Same thing. The Venom Doctor Strange is also a very solid way of like showing a good line where it's more of a supporty character.
He's either like a support piece on his cheaper dial, or he's an actual attacker at 90.
Yep. Like if he would have been 45 points with the same running shot pen blast, like what I'm like, whoa, all right, okay. But instead he's got TK. So I really enjoy the point lines in this set. I think they did a outstanding job. So that's pretty much what I want to talk about. I like the chases, the secret identity. The objects are a little trash, and the point lines is the huge standout thing for me that I really enjoy. So I'm pretty much done with this set, and really quickly, I'm just going to say I'm getting 2 cases of it because I can, and I didn't unbox. I only unboxed like a case, technically 2 bricks of Fantastic Four. So I need to make some videos on YouTube. So I got to do some unboxing. Simeon, final thoughts in our final thoughts segment.
Yeah, my final thoughts, I started off before we knew a whole lot about the set, mostly interested in just the equipment. Now I don't really care about the equipment. I'll be glad I get it if it's attached to whatever character it's supposed to be. But I'm mostly interested in like a full common, uncommon, and rare set. Then like a few super rares to fill it out. And eventually I'd like to get the whole chase set, because I think it'll be a chase set that's like actually unique. You'll actually be able to like set them up against each other or whatever, and they all have like their own kind of unique storyline thing going on in the background. So yeah, I just like that I did a 180, a whole 180, as the kids say, turned my idea about the set around, because I really don't care for any of the objects. They'll be fun on the characters that they can be played with. I won't need them for like building outside of this set. It'll be purely like if they can use pumpkin bombs, they'll have it. If they can use the dimensional watch, they'll have like one, But other than that, yeah, I just want a full common, uncommon, rare, and I'll handpick a few super rares because I definitely won't pull them. And I think I'm in for a case. I'll do 1 brick per store kind of thing. So hopefully I don't blow my luck and get like 2 prime riots or something in each brick. But it's a chance I'm willing to take.
Right on. Well, let's go ahead and move into the Community Tuesdays question.
There are dozens of us. Dozens!
Every week we ask a good old cool question here on our Facebook and Twitter, which is this week is going to be with almost all the Absolute Carnage set previewed. What did WizKids miss? What's your biggest want from the set? Through about 3 each. We basically kind of went over what our biggest wants from the set are and what we thought WizKids missed, so we don't really need to answer this. But let's read 3. Simeon, why don't you start us on Facebook?
All right. On Facebook, I'm going to start with Stephen McNeil. He says, I was hoping for the other Life Foundation symbiotes since the Venom movie hinted at them. We got Riot and Scream, but filling in the team with Agony, Lasher, and Phage would have been nice. So that's where they're from, Calder. We solved the riddle. the Life Foundation symbiotes.
I quite like the Venom movie. I will go on record saying I've seen that movie twice in theaters. And I think another time I bought it as soon as it came out on DVD, watched it with my family. My whole family loved it. So
I thought it was a great movie. It wasn't like groundbreaking or like, pushing barriers, but it was a fine, like fun movie, kind of like,
it's a fun little movie, man.
Like turn off your brain and watch kind of thing. And that's how most superhero movies are for me, anyhow. I enjoy pretty much. Like
it's a Pacific Rim, Like don't take it too seriously. Just enjoy it.
It's no Atlantic Rim, that's for sure.
Oh no, nowhere close. Little Plastic Superheroes on Twitter says, "How about Carnage in the main set?" We find out later. Yes, we have a Carnage in the main set, and he's awesome. And he says another Scarlet Spider would have been cool too. Hey, look, you already ruined the Earth X LE slot with a trashy, freaking stupid Scarlet Spider. So let's take your blessings here. I shouldn't have read that one. Sorry, LPS. All right.
All right, we'll go on to Peter Marshfield here on Facebook says, I like the continuation of equipment. I wish we had gotten some rescue of the Web FX bases again. Oh, sorry. Some reuse. That makes way more sense. Some reuse of the Web FX bases again to make some kind of FX for the symbiotes. That would be cool. Yeah. Something that goes like under the dial instead of on a card off to the side. Continues, I hope we have Carnage as the title character, which we didn't. This was set out like, I think the day before they released the Super Rare Carnage. As well as Spider-Man or Venom title character. Most excited for Miles West and a modern Spider-Man 2099, which, I'd really like that Spider-Man 2099.
Absolutely. Alex Bull on Twitter says, it's interesting. Harry finally gets in the game, but the Goblin sculpt for him is all wrong, as is the Dial. He deserves better. I also really would like everything related to Maximum Carnage and the Sinister Six. I hate the Ultimate stuff that can go in the trash. Okay. Not a fan of the Ultimate universe.
So we'll finish it off on Facebook here with James Craddock, who says, Ultimate Black Widow, TA for the WCs. I don't understand. Team ability for the wild cards? I solved it. Or maybe the Bombshell mother plus daughter pair. I have a slight interest in the Gwen Stacy bystander / upstander / whatever. 3 of them will be great for being Deadpool sets Arnim Zola Gwen clones. Most of the set ain't my bag. So, that's another great thing about the generics is if you like have these figures like 10 years down the line and you're like, hey, I'm running a Pathfinder campaign and I want a bunch of like 3D miniatures for like shopkeepers, all the little like Peter Parker, Gwen Stacy, Harry Osborn, all the little like plain people, humanoids as some might say, those are great for doing like random 3D models for other games.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, that's what I said right away. Is like I like that we just have like generic people sculpts that we can use for other stuff. I think that's totally fine. David Schiffler on Twitter says, I feel like making all the AC symbiotes primes was a mistake. I would like to make a team with them all. Biggest want, probably any chases at this point. Cured manipulation for the win. Yeah, it sure is weird that they made
so weird.
Certain figures primes and certain figures not primes. Like, wouldn't this have been a good set to do the whole Silver Ring prime thing?
Yeah.
No, I think it would be ridiculous. They did in
a couple sets now. AI and then the majority of X-Men Dark Phoenix Saga. Was, Silver Rings.
I feel like X-Men Dark Phoenix Saga. I think you think about primes that are maybe a little too good when you play them all on one team. Just a little too good. Those ones probably should have been it.
Yeah. Compared to these ones I don't think play very well outside of like the set itself. There's not a ton of Codex keyword going on right now, and that's where they really like work. And even then, there's better like point for point pieces out. So really, like the only thing that sets them out, makes them kind of stand out, is the whole healing aspect from KOing characters, and they really thrive if they've got the Codex keyword. So outside of this set, and not being able to play them as like a Codex team or a Codex hunting team, I feel like that's just a weird oversight.
And thank you guys, everybody that commented on our Community Tuesdays question. We do that every single Tuesday on Facebook and Twitter. Now I'm going to go ahead and look into a Jedi Legend Heroclix tip of the week.
You don't want to sell me death sticks.
I don't want to sell you death sticks.
You want to go home and rethink your life.
I want to go home and rethink my life.
For the week is, so he calls it a whizzer, which is some wacky British name for a line of fire tool. But these are compact and fantastic for determining lines of fire. Remember to work from the center point of each square. Go grab a whizzer. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't say that. It's so terrible. Or any string. What do you use? So it's the classic line of fire tool that we've all seen. But I think the real tip here is make sure you have one, and make sure you remember to bring one every game you play. Like, seriously, these things are huge. So yeah, start. If it's a diagonal line, it's easy to do kind of the middle because you just go kind of along that point. But yeah, start from the middle of each square. Just place your thumb down. It's that little retractable thing. There is a comment here that has the legit name. It is, for anyone that hasn't seen it before, it is called a retractable reel. REEL, retractable reel. So I also have a Army Painter brand, a line of fire tool, which is a laser pointer, which I think is freaking cool. I think it's like, there's no way it's over $20, but it's like $10, $15. I think is what I bought mine for. Yeah,
most laser pointers, like a decent like priced one, can come with like alternate heads that you can put on the top, and that's I like that. I like the laser one that you've got. I just can't use it myself because my hands shake so much that it makes people that are watching me hold the laser concerned for my health.
Oh, geez. But yeah, make sure you guys have a line of fire tool of some kind. The laser is good. If you're going to use string, don't like use yarn or anything because like it's like too thick. So like you want as like tight of a string as possible, which is why these retractable reels are just kind of like the best little thing. Yeah. Good tip. Make sure you have one of those on you. And that brings us to the end of our show. So I'm going to go ahead, read through all the cool stuff here really quick, but not the actual cool stuff. Simeon will do that later. Make sure to check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/dialh for Heroclix. That is where we'll post our Community Tuesdays. We see any news throughout the week of new dials and whatever, we'll go ahead and post that there. And also, I just like seeing a big old number for how many page likes we have. So go ahead and like it. If you haven't liked our Facebook page yet, just like it. You can like us and then unfollow us. I don't care, but just give us a like. All right. Super great. On Twitter, we are at dialh4. That's the number 4 Heroclix. So that's our little handle on Twitter. On Instagram, all I do on Instagram is post the Thursday Throwdown thumbnails. So if you want to see closer versions or you like want to stare at the thumbnail a bit more than what you can see on YouTube, go to our Instagram, which is dialh for Heroclix. You should find us pretty easily on Instagram. Same thing on YouTube. It is dialh4 Heroclix, youtube.com/dialh for Heroclix, whatever. As where we post, the podcast is posted each week on YouTube. I'm going to try to do more skit videos, not just impressions videos, but I finally have all of those up on YouTube. As you guys also know, if you do check out our YouTube at all, Fantastic Four Cosmic Clash starter review is a lot different from other starter reviews, and I want to do more reviews like that. So if you do watch that video, it should be under our, I think I made a comedy skit playlist or some section like that. So everything is a playlist. There's the Modern Age podcast of me and Simeon. There's the Silver Age podcast of me and Chris. And there's the Golden Age podcast, which is the original 3 hosts. Those are all on playlists on YouTube. I'm trying to get it as organized as possible. I want to start doing, at the very least, 2 videos a week-ish, where it's just going to be one Thursday Throwdown, one podcast for sure. And then every couple of weeks, we'll try to throw in a starter set review, an unboxing video. And then every time we do a video, I like to do a fun intro of some kind, or at least make the video fun in and of itself, so it's not just another boring Heroclix unboxing. So yeah, let us know. Check out our YouTube channel. We have a lot of great content. Thursday Throwdown is this beautiful Golden Age gameplay we do every single week. Last week, a little upload got messed up, so we're going to try to record again this week. But make sure to always vote for Thursday Throwdowns too. We post that on Facebook and Twitter. And in our Discord, if you support us on Patreon, about what figures you want me and Simeon to play. So not only is it us playing in Golden Age, which is great because there's all sorts of Modern Age stuff. We're really the only people that do Golden Age games this consistently. You also get a vote for what figures you want to see us play, which is huge. Plus, we do dumb little costumes in the thumbnail each time, which is crazy fun.
Yeah.
Lastly, let's go ahead. I'm going to mention the Patreon. So if you want to support us, it's patreon.com/Dial H for Heroclix. Or I believe if you just like Google, like in the little Patreon search function, type in Dial H for Heroclix. We action tokens and stickers at certain rewards. We have tokens that are the logo with howdy howdy, let's get rowdy on it. And we also have tokens that are the Lex Luthor 40 cake tokens and the HBK tuning up the band tokens. So we have all sorts of cool tokens if you want to support us on Patreon. And thank you guys so much for not only listener support, but the Patreon support. It is huge. If you want to leave a review, goodness gracious, on iTunes, Podbean, whatever, wherever you are listening to this podcast, let us know, Spotify, etc. But thank you guys for listening. That is all I have to plug. Simeon, why don't you go ahead, say whatever you want to say, and read us out of here, my man.
All right. So if you guys listen to this and you are real amped to get some Spider-Man and Venom and potentially a Carnage or two, well, you know where to go. It's CoolStuffInc.com. We are sponsored by CoolStuffInc.com, and you can go there. You can find cool stuff in stock every day, from the latest Heroclix singles and sealed products to pre-releases and pre-order stuff, which is currently what Spider-Man, Venom, and Carnage family tree set is at right now. It's pre-order, so you can still do that up until Wednesday when it releases, and then you gotta buy all the pieces like me. You have to buy them like me. That's how I do it. So yeah,
right.
Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Happy trails.
My stuff.